You know, we've been dynoing quite a few 500s here. This is an exciting day for me because this is the engine that won the Sand Mountain 2021 race. This is a Packard Enterprises engine build, porting, billet head, the full motor package by them, the aluminum radiators, the big CPI pipe. This may break the record, and I'll be surprised if it doesn't, mainly by virtue of this massive pipe that it has on it and the big carb. It's a top-end motor. This isn't set up for woods riding. This is for a racing application, and this thing absolutely flies, trust me. Now, let's see what the dyno says. Jeff's got the sniffer in there to find out what the jetting's at. Fuel to air. Yeah, baby! 60 horsepower! 60.15 rear wheel horsepower. And it's running, it's jetted a little rich on the safe side, right?
Look at the fuel to air here.
Jeff, will you explain to all the viewers at home what you're looking at here?
Well, okay, so the big graphs, we just did 3 poles. So these 3 lines up here are the power curve, and this down here is the fuel to air curve. It comes down, it's a little fat there in the mid-range, but it finishes out at 13-1. So it's just about right on the very top end for going up that long hill mountain.
Yep.
It's perfect.
This thing pulled everybody.
All right, so let's look at the torque now. We're going to look at the torque.
This I need to know.
44 pounds of torque.
44.03 pounds of torque up on the top line. 44.03. Guys, let's put that into perspective. What a great way to end the week. A Friday night, set a new record on the dyno here, huh? So you're at 13-1, which you said was basically perfect. And if you leaned it out any, which would help it run better down low.
Yeah, we could lean it out a bit to get this maybe up to 13.5 and maybe straighten this out a little bit.
But then you run the risk of toasting the motor.
You're getting a little toasty there, but for what this bike was doing, it's jetted perfect.
Guys, the proof's in the pudding. The CR500 two-stroke is putting down 60.15 horse at the peak, and at where you're in the meat of the power band, which is 7,100 RPM, which is where you ride this thing, it's putting down 58.83 versus 43. That's 15 horsepower more than a YZ440. That's substantial. Let's look at the torque now. Guys, this is what I gotta tell you. This is so important here. Some people think 4-strokes have more torque than a 2-stroke. Bullshit. That's not true. The 2-stroke puts down 43.74 horsepower. Foot-pounds of torque versus 32.9. 32.9 versus 43.7. Hey, Wiz, you got your calculator?
Yeah.
32 divided by 0.73.
That's around 30%.
30%. But that's substantial because that's what moves the bike is the torque as much as the horsepower. And you got a lot more torque lower in the power here. Between 6,000 and 7,500 RPM, we've got a substantial more amount of horsepower here, substantial. And almost 30% more torque and 15 more horsepower. That's why these things blow away the 4-strokes. This is just the torque. When I say it blows away a 4-stroke, I mean an area where you can actually use the power, like the Sand Mountain hill climb, or a grass drag, or a sand drag, or a hole shot on a long uphill like the Southwick.
11 pounds of torque.
11 more pounds of torque. And that's where you feel it. That's what pulls you forward. That's what rockets this thing to the hole shot, to the lead, or over the hill, or across the desert, or wherever the hell you're riding this thing. What an absolute monster. Kenny, look at this. Look at this. Hey. Look at the rear fender on this thing. If the tail's wagging, she's happy. Guys, this is an absolute monster. This is on the podium with the 97 we just dynoed today as the second most powerful CR500 on the dyno we've tested yet. This one was a quarter of a horsepower less. I think it was 60.4. We'll put the clip in here of the dyno run on this one. Very similar torque curve, very similar build. This one here was the SM21, Sand Mountain 21 hill climb champion. Zach Stockoff won the pro class on this bike right here, and he had some help from Packard Enterprises. They do the big electron carb kits and race porting. So the build on this bike, we've done a whole lot of work to this. You wouldn't even recognize it when Zach had it. You wouldn't recognize the bike at all. We took it right down to the frame and redid everything on it, including a top shelf set of Takasaga XL A60 rims with Talon hubs, front and rear. Just an absolutely beautiful piece. The polished hubs. The Hoosier tires on the front, complete plastic restyle kit, so it looks like a 2021. But before I get into that, I want to talk about this engine because we did a bunch of dyno tuning on this motor. Also, I want to thank Zach for being honest. He's the first person that we bought a bike like this from who was honest and accurate about the dyno report on it. He said this would put down 60 horsepower. That's exactly what it put down on the dyno. So Zach's done quite a bit of tuning. He prefers electron carb. We prefer the Kean carb. He does hill climbing and sand dune riding where you're wide open a lot of the time. We do a lot of motocross riding in the East here. This is a more versatile carb, so we switched the carb for a Kean air striker. I'll start at the air cleaner. It's got a brand new twin air filter, the air block. We took the bike right down to the frame and engine. The entire thing was dismantled, including the rear suspension, the rear linkage, the wheels, everything came off of it. And we started with a clean slate. We polished the frame. Back to the motor. Twin air filter, air box has been cleaned and resealed. The carburetor is a brand new 2021 PWK air striker. It's not a used carb. It's a brand new air striker from Sudco. The intake on it is the stock intake with the Boyson reed valves. Rad valve, excuse me. As you can see, it says Packard Enterprise Racing right here. It was ported by Packard Enterprises, and it has a special head on it that changes the combustion chamber a little bit and the compression ratio. It has a full CPI exhaust system with a Pro Circuit silencer on it. So basically, this is the actual carb that would come on a 2022 Service Honda. That's what the AJ uses. This is what Adam Millar recommends. That's what most of the top tuners recommend for motocross, and that's what this thing's set up for motocross. But it's putting down similar horsepower to a factory 450 would, like a factory team 450 would, and it's about 7 to 8 horsepower more than a new 450 would put down without a lot of mods. Keep in mind that's a stock carb just with the reed valve, the engine porting, the cylinder head, and the pipe. Now he also added on these oversized radiators to keep her running cool. It's got some nice factory racing Boyson ignition covers, a new hammerhead shifter, a new chain guide protector on the front. Whole new. When we got it, we put a whole new set of running gear on the bike: wheels, tires, rims, brakes, chain sprocket. It's got a brand new front countershaft sprocket, gold chain. It has a Super Sprox red and black dual metal compound sprocket on the rear. It has a brand new complete TM Design Works slider, roller, and chain guide factory edition kit in the red. That's your chain guide, your slider, your roller. It's got a Cycra red shock guard. And Christy Steiger designed this package, my girlfriend Christy. She only does these graphics for our custom builds. This is number 23. It's one of one. You'll never see another one exactly like it because every one she does is a little bit different. Christy Steiger Designs. The graphics package is off the hook here. It looks like a factory race bike. It has this Thrill Seeker black and red seat cover. Matches beautifully with the plastic restyle and graphics kit. The front fender is a replica or a restyle kit replica of a 2020 or 21 front fender and number plate. New fork protectors, new graphics on the fork protector, new graphics on the front fender, new front number plate graphics, new style radiator shrouds, the new style side number plates. One of the things I want to add, and this might seem like a moot point until your bike is really hot and you need to lift it on a stand. This Restyle kit has a curved fender right here. It's perfect for grabbing it, and it's very sturdy. You can lift the bike from the fender and side panel right here. I know it sounds like a moot point, but it's a perfect grab handle that you don't have normally on an AF or a Steely frame 500. The gas tank is the original Honda gas tank. The front of the bike has a Takasago XL A660 front rim with a billet hub and new spokes. The brake system's completely rebuilt. The caliper, the brake pads, the brake fluid has been flushed and filled. It has a works connection, master cylinder cover, new aluminum levers. It's got a new set of Renthal handlebars on here. These are the 971 H's for high. Renthal crossbar pad, ODI grips. Just a beautiful piece. Again, the CPI pipe, those are getting hard to come by. That's where some of the magic here is, that's putting down the big horsepower, is that a big oversized CPI pipe. Factory kicker has been polished. This side of the frame, both sides of the frames you can see have been polished. The swing arm's been polished. You can see it has the red axle adjusters, red silicone radiator hoses, new fuel lines, new radiator overflow lines. I'm going to go to the work order here just in case I forgot anything. So you want to add anything about this bike? I know you were supposed to race them with Dr. Dyno, Ben Probst's 78 horsepower KX500. You never got a chance to. Now, the Dyno at Lindsay Machine, is either running a different correction factor or whatever. Then the bike that put 66 horse on the Dyno at Lindsay's put 61 on our Dyno. And there's different ways to program your Dyno. There's altitude differences. There's all kinds of variances. Let's say Ben's 78 or 70. He had two bikes, a 72 and a 78 at the rear wheel with the correction factor. Would have been pretty damn close race, I think. But in any event, those bikes both had issues and didn't make it to the line. This one is proven. It's been reliable. It's a great package. I know Dr. Dyno's hard at work building a bike to put you on the podium against Zach next year. So I know Zach's working. I talked to AJ today. Zach's been ordering parts for his next year's bike that he's building. You want to add anything about this kick-ass piece? I mean, this is as fast as AF I've ever ridden.
Yeah, there's been a lot of money poured into this project, which is really the research and development on how to make these easy, reliable horsepower. Being on the podium, that's quite the statement considering how many CR500s that we've dynoed this year alone, since we've got the dyno, and it's tuned on the Air Striker.
Clearly a rocket ship. It's set up for moto now with the key and carb. Again, it's got the new Pro Taper 520 MX top of the line chain, all the new, everything I mentioned so far. It also has a complete new linkage bearing kit. We took the entire linkage apart, put all the linkage in there, new wheel bearings along with the new hubs, and spokes and rims and sprockets and brakes and everything that we did to the bike since we got it from Zach. We've been working on it on and off for a few months. It all came together. We had some issues with electron carb, getting it jetted perfectly to run good down low, and that's been a common denominator here with us with electron carbs. We've had 3 or 4 of them, and some of the other smart carbs and whatnot. And it seems like the Kian is the most reliable right out of the box.
We don't like the electron carbs.
I didn't want to throw electron on the bus, but now that you mention it, yeah, we like the Kian carbs. There's a reason why Adam Millar Race Engineering, and AJ Wagoner, who's built more CR500s than anybody on the planet, bar none, hands down. Probably more than Honda did the last 3 years of production. He's done 6,000 of them. I don't know how many Honda was producing, but AJ's done over 6,000 of these.
They run like magic. They're easy to tune. They got power everywhere, and the dyno numbers to back it up. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, did I mention the dyno numbers? Did I mention? If I did, I want to say it again. The electron carb, which gave us less performance down low, was 1 horsepower, 1 full horsepower, which is a lot for a well-tuned bike, less than this Kian carb. That's why it's got the Kian on there. And the Kian's half the price, too. You can buy the Kian for $300 and change. The electron's going to be substantially more than that, and they're difficult to jet. At least they have been for us. So I know you guys who love them, keep loving them, but we're sticking with the Kians. We're with AJ and Adam and Eric Gore and the rest of the guys, Tom Morgan, they're all running those Kians carbs. Although I have seen some Tom Morgan machines with the smart carb on it. So Zach put a ridiculous amount of time and money into this thing to put it on the podium. We purchased it from him out in Utah, shipped it back here, been working on it. Our work order came out to 30.75 hours plus parts. The bottom line was $4,300 $147. Again, you wouldn't recognize this as Zach's bike because it's been changed so much since we got it. You know, full restyle kit, wheels, tires, rims, brakes, everything. Frame polished. Everything you can see is new with bars, grips, levers, all that. So, you know, it's been thoroughly gone through all the fluids. You know, the gear lube, of course, the brake fluid, and the engine coolant is all new. This is a world-class performance machine. You'd be hard-pressed to duplicate it without doing a bunch of dyno runs and trying different things and coming up with the same formula that Zach and I and Packard Enterprise and the rest of the gang that was involved with this. So this is an FMF Power Core 2 silencer. I think I might have said per circuit earlier. Come to think of it, she's ready to rumble. This bike beat, what was it, 40 500s, 40 plus 500s that competed at that event, all hill climb and some highly modified ones. This one puts it to the ground and without an extended swing arm. And yeah, you can even cut in a clip from the video of this thing winning that race. You got it on video, right? So hopefully we can do that. Anyways, enough rambling. Kick-ass machine, Kaplan America approved. Zach, great job. Thanks for your honesty and for giving us a chance to swing a leg over and enjoy this beast that you've created for a while. We've had it all summer. We're going to let it go to a new home. Whoever gets this is getting a world-class piece. I hope you appreciate it. Thanks for watching. God bless America.